Now we will proceed to a crucial phase of the process, marking a significant milestone. Writing that includes detailed descriptions of the characters involved. From my experience, I've learned to particularize characters without making them strange. What does this mean? Sometimes in an effort to make a character unique, you might think, I'll make them quirky, but it's better to focus on specific relatable traits instead. Add 20 characteristics, and each of those characteristics will be novel, special, contradictory, and ultimately it ends up being a character that is super difficult to manage in the action, and in fact, you can't know them well because they become so strange, so particular, so unique that they start to feel fake. When I aim to define a character, I consider which traits will best support their actions. Every detail I provide about my characters should enhance their role, ensuring they remain relatable and integral to the story's progression. Must relate to things that will have implications in the action. For example, is it useful to know Batman's past? For a movie I'm writing. Does it help me to know what happened at age 5? Does what happened to him at 5 relate to what the character is now, if so? I write it, and of course it will be important. But if I give Batman, at 5 years old this happened, at 10 years old this happened, at 15 years old, I will have a 20-page biography of the character that perhaps won't help me at all for the action. And that will start to confuse us because we will begin to describe the character as if it were a novel. What matters to me are descriptions that serve. Is the character shy or ambitious? Is the character deceitful? Does the character enjoy challenges? These traits define the character's essence. The character gets along with their mother. These are the things that matter to me. Everything else I can keep as personal work to feel like I'm getting to know the character, but it won't help me much when it's time to develop my ladder. Each universe we explore as writers brings unique challenges, requiring us to adapt and think creatively. One of the primary aspects for me when embarking on this research about the world I will inhabit for some time is to free myself from preconceived notions, prejudices, and cliches. None of us can avoid having prejudices. It's part of our lives. I mean, it's almost something that gives us security. Being able to read the world beforehand and say, no, I won't go down that street because I think it's like that. Well, that's a prejudice. We don't really know if it is. Naturally, we've witnessed numerous portrayals of various things over time. It's easy to fall into cliches. If I describe a love scene, it might sound familiar or predictable to you. You've likely watched countless romantic scenes in films set against a sunset backdrop. It's true. Or on the beach. If I tell you chase scenes, you'll think of empty parking lots, you'll think of ports, you'll think of a lot of constructions that might not belong to you, but it reflects the number of times you've encountered specific representations. To truly understand, one must be able to achieve freedom in the world you're shaping. It's essential to explore new forms and identify which one truly resonates as your own. Of narrating that tale, without research, you will miss the essence of the story. Fill your head with the references you already have. You might make certain prejudices, certain judgments about the character. For example, saying teenagers are only interested in sex. All teenagers are rebellious. All teenagers have bad tempers. All teenagers. And then you start attributing to a character many aspects linked to the relationship you have built, influencing your understanding of them. With that type of character, it's super important. When I work with a teenage character, it's crucial to watch series aimed at that age group. I need references from films that aid in character development. Listening to the music they enjoy is also essential to understand their world better. I have to immerse myself a bit culturally to then choose, oh no, look, I want my teenager to be like this one. I'm no longer talking about an elderly character and I'm going to try to fit the representation of the elderly. No, it will be an elderly person who moves in a certain way, thinks in a certain way, their emotions are like this, their character is like this. For that, you have to research You have to fill yourself with information first. I have continued to advance a bit in my project. Then that means I have described the characters a bit. You have to think that a character description doesn't have to be more than 6 lines. It may seem extreme, right? With a movie. A character I'm going to know so well, I'm only going to write 6 lines. When you write only what has implications in the action, you'll see that there's not much more you'll need to write. You have to try to be concise, because being concise will later give you more freedom. It's odd, but sometimes having too much information can actually limit your creativity and clarity. As I told you before, you've made your characters strange instead of particularizing them. Then you don't know how they move in the world, so you get tangled up in the scenes. You don't know very well how they would act in this situation or that one. In contrast, when you have it concise, it's simple. And you discover more